So, we got the hit. Now, what the heck do we do about it? Well, you don't just want to hit them and then run away. You don't just want to end your combo and then run away, at least not usually. Yes, there can be instances where maybe there's only a little bit left on the timer, you've got a life lead, so, why risk going in and you just run away instead. But usually, you want to build upon that hit. You want to get more out of it. As I've shown before, if you're hitting with Clone Punch, you want to follow up with Vapors. That's going to give you just a little touch of extra damage. It's also going to slow them down if they did some sort of wake-up attack. Now, it's pretty much a Hail Mary if they decide to do a wake-up attack from all the way over there. But, maybe they're desperate. But it will actually slow them down, even if it was Johnny Cage's very, very fast wake-up move. And I swear I'm not picking Johnny Cage because I'm hating him. I'm picking him to showcase that even against a really fast attack, look at all that slowdown. You don't even need to block that. You can just neutral duck it if he's even close enough to connect and then get your full punish. So you really get an opportunity to see what is the opponent doing. Now, if you're even slightly delayed on doing it, you still get time. So you don't even need to be timing this that well. And the reason I mention that is I talked in the last video about delayed wake up. So you can almost see if the opponent's going to do a delayed wake up or not. Like you can just pause that extra second to see if they're staying down an extra moment and then do it. Now, if you're too delayed on it, yeah, they can jump, get out of it, whatever. But it's still something you can be doing. Just tack that little bit extra. What we're mainly going to be focused, though, instead, is ending your combos. We're almost always going to end combos with Slide. And this is amazing because Slide is absolutely incredible for Oki. What Oki is, for anyone who's new or relatively new to fighting games, Oki means your options on their wake up. A character that gives you stronger Oki options is better because you get to keep that momentum going. You got them in a combo and then you get to hit them again. Then you get to hit them again. And so Sub-Zero is actually very, very strong at this. And it's all because his Slide provides amazing Oki. First, look at the spacing. We're right next to them. We're also right next to them with heavy advantage. Now, ever since this patch and now the Slide needing to hold 3, the game doesn't know how to show the advantage for it, but it's 15. It's the same as it used to be. Why is 15 frames or thereabouts amazing? Because this is 15 frames. This is our mid. I hear so many sub players complain about this mid. This mid is incredible because of its utility on wake up. You can be doing it as a perfect meaty. Now, what is a meaty? A meaty means you are hitting the opponent right as they are getting up. So they don't have time to press a button. If they were trying, for instance, to do crouching 1, for instance, to poke you and get away, they will get clipped. They're going to get hit by this. Even if they're trying to do something that's pretty darn fast, like Sub-Zero Cameo's parry, you will beat that out. So if you're playing somebody that likes to press buttons, you can just immediately go into forward 1 to hit them. All right. Now, you'll notice that I'm missing with that forward 1 every now and then. That's because it is frame perfect, basically, that you're looking to do it. You're looking to do it as soon as you recover from the Slide, and that will hit frame perfect for the wake up. Now, if that's giving you a little bit of trouble, you can do back 3 instead. Back 3 is just more forgiving because it's a 13 frame move. So even if you're, 1/60th of a second off, which is what every frame is, you can still be clipping with them with this. The problem with the back 3 is twofold, though. One, it's possible to do too soon. See right there? It just whiffed. We don't want that. 2, you can't really keep the pressure going with it. What's amazing about the forward 1 too is it also stops delay. So if the opponent's like, oh, no worries, I'll just delay wake up, no you won't, because the second hit of the string catches them perfectly. This string was designed to give you incredible Oki, great meaty hits as the opponent is trying to get up. They will get snagged by this second hit. So this could not be a better string and combo ender. The pairing of Slide and forward 1-2 is one of the great strengths of Sub-Zero, that once you've hit them, even just with a Slide, even if you're just snagging somebody like this, you are now in an incredible situation. All right? Now, I realize you might be saying a couple things. One, what if the opponent decides to armor? Well, if you watch my last video, you got to see that who cares? I'm not worried about them doing an armored wake up, because the first hit's going to be the forward one, and then I'm just going to slide. You can learn to do this on reaction. Yes, it takes some work, but because they flash, you can be ready. Now, you can't be doing all options at the same time. Meaning you can't be doing the forward 1-2 to cover delay and the forward 1 into the special cancel. So there is a little bit of a read going on. But the good news is that our forward 1's pretty great because it's only -4. This is going to allow you to stagger this a bit. So you can be doing 1 and then throwing, you can be doing 1, dashing back, and then even doing it again. You can be 1 dashing really far back and then with back 3, because back 3 is usually a little more forward advancing than that forward 1 is going to be for you. So you are making a little bit of a choice here. You might do something like this, or just this into this. But the idea is that you've got a way to cover the big stuff the opponent's going to do. If you're sensing that they're going to do something, be ready to do that. Now, if they don't do something, you could very quickly, it's tough, but very quickly you could be pressing 2 to keep it going. But let's say that's just too much, right? It's okay. Just either do the slide or don't. All right. So you're hitting with forward 1. If you see their armor come out, input the motion for slide. If you don't see any armor from them, then just keep that forward 1 pressure going. Because 1, if you hit them, you're at +18. So you're going to jail with this, meaning that they can't get out of that forward 1. Like you're going to hit with this as well. They could block, and if they block, as I showed, you're only at -4. So you're really still in a good situation if you thought they were going to armor and they don't. You would either keep stagger pressure going, which means you're continuing to pressure them with your buttons while they're blocking, or you would just go into a throw, or again, if you hit them, you would just start it all over again. All right? So you can completely stop their armored wake up. You never need to worry about armored wake up as a sub player. And you can even do this meterlessly, because if you're also thinking, but wait, I gotta have meter to do my slide. True, you do for this particular version, but against some character wake-ups, you don't need it. I've got a video from forever ago you can check out about breaking armor with forward 1 and clone. That works against even top tier characters like Sindel. You can do forward 1 in a clone. You can do this against Reiko. You can even do this against Liu Kang. So you can be breaking the opponent from their armored wake up by doing this meaty forward 1 into clone. That'll count as a 2 hits. The clone will freeze them. Life is good. All right. So I actually made another video showing this of going into the slide, because against characters that have faster wake up like Johnny Cage or a Scorpion, you're going to need to use the slide instead. But now that the slide, does more damage and allows for, different conversions, it's great, because as a Scorpion player, I can do something like this and still get my combo, and that's really, really satisfying and fun. And that works for a lot of different characters like Janet Cage that I was showing previously. So just so you can see it, you do need to time that forward 1. You'll get used to it. There we go. So we get to do something like this, and it's not going to do insane damage because it is coming off and armored, but it is 1/5 of their life, or even 1/4 if they're playing like a low health character. So this can, or close to 1/4, it can really disincentivize them to wake up. I've done this to opponents just once, and they're freaked out. Afterwards, they're like, wait, how did this sub break my armor? And then they never want to armor again. And that's amazing, because once you know they're not going to armor, then you can move into some of these other options. So you can break their armor. What about the delayed wake up? So I've already mentioned that the delayed wake up is incredible. The fact that the same string covers both situations makes our life easier, and that's really good. Now, if you're fighting somebody that just likes to press buttons, like we know these opponents, they delay their wake up and then they stand up 1, right? If you think that is going to happen, you could immediately go into Sub-Zero's metered vapors, like so, and it would combo. But that's risky, because again, just hitting with that and hit confirming that's really hard to do single hits into hit confirm. So we really want something safer. This is where having a cameo that has a relatively safe follow-up is good, because it's easier to press a direction in a button than a full motion. So for example, it takes me longer to do the fireball motion or the down, down, forward, forward motion, or just down and then forward motion for that, than it does for me to do this, which is just forward in Cameo. So I probably could hit confirm that. As soon as I see that punch hit and Johnny stagger a little bit, then I could do that. So having a Cameo that allows for that type of extension that is requiring less movement from your hands on the controller is good. Also, if it's just a safe Cameo that's coming in, so Scorpion is relatively safe, they can up block, Sonya is relatively safe, you can just sort of be doing it, meaning if you see the opponent delay their wake up, you can just go ahead and let that Cameo come out after forward 1-2. If you hit the opponent, it will convert to a full combo, and if they block, they'll likely just block your safe Cameo that's coming out to an extension. So that's the benefit of having a Cameo that allows for that type of extension. Another one you can do now that you didn't used to be able to do is just going to the forward 1-3. Now this is going to lose your turn, but that's kind of okay because this right here is -7. Now that sort of loses your turn. Now why I'm saying it sort of loses your turn is because the opponent knows you've got more options after that -7. You could go into that little hop kick, which is the 3 part of the forward 1-2-3, or you could be calling out a Cameo. Yeah, so they're often going to pause a moment, and that might give you time to stagger in a throw while they're waiting for you to maybe do that extra attack. It might give you time to back away. It might give you time to do a quick instant air dive kick. All right, but I want you to know that that's all a maybe. Like that. And the reason why it's all a maybe is because if the opponent sees that you're standing there long enough, they will just do this and you will lose your turn. So ending here when they're blocking is not guaranteed to retain your turn. You're more guaranteed to retain your turn if you do something like this and the opponent's out of bar so they can't punish you, that type of stuff. All right? But what I would recommend doing instead, in most cases, if you think you are going to get the hit, is go and go for this, because this is -7 now, so most people can't punish it. Yes, there's a gap, so you got to decide, do they have, meter where they can armor it? But this really gives you the time to see, oh, the 2-part hit. The 2-part hit. Okay, so I can now call out my Cameo, and I'm not needing to just call my Cameo randomly. I'm calling it because I see that I hit the opponent. Sure, again, I'm losing my turn at the end of this, but not really, and I'll talk about that more in a moment. But the idea is we get the cover delay wake up, and if you think it's going to combo, you can really hit confirm that combo by doing the 2 into the 3, and then a Cameo like a Scorpion Flame, or a Janet Air Punch, or a Sonya Air Punch. So you really do have the options to keep that combo going with a lot of the Cameos you would likely be using. And yes, Chameleon can, of course, allow you to combo that with Melina's size, that sort of stuff. So that is if the opponent is delaying their wake up. Now, let's say it happens that the opponent does all these things. So they delay their wake up, and then they're blocking, right? So you're not getting your combo, sad face, and you're left in this position where you're -7. Now, depending on the opponent, you can, in some cases, steal your turn back with your armored slide. So anytime you would lose your turn, you're not necessarily losing your turn because you can do this. Now, there are certain instances where you are, again, at -7, where the opponent could do something really quick, like a down poke, and that's usually going to hit you before you even get to start your armor. In certain cases, all right? So you might get stuffed out. But if you do it fast enough, and if the opponent is more trying to do like a high string, unlike Johnny's knee, right? But you will often be able to steal your turn back. You're especially able to steal your turn back in situations like this, all right? When you are around this -5 mark, you can always get this out, even if they were to do a down poke. So it's not guaranteed you could steal your turn back off of this, but in some cases you will indeed be able to steal your turn back, and you will get a full combo for that steal turn because you can combo your slide, right? So you notice I'm doing the slide too soon. It's because I've got that 7 frames of recovery, so I really do need to wait for that recovery to finish and then do my slide. And that's the moment while your recovering is finishing, the opponent could hit you with something before you get that armor out. But again, in some cases you can. So even if you go all the way to this, you're still not necessarily finished, depending on, if you want to make that read that you could get a slide out there. So this is really, really good, Oki, okay? Because you just have options for everything. You can beat out their armor. You can potentially hit confirm on their delayed wake up. They can't just easily get away from you. You have options for everything. And yes, there's some guessing back and forth, but you are the aggressor throughout this, and you can keep pretty safe just by doing that. So you do this and wait to see, are they armoring? And now you're only at -4, and it's still pretty much your turn because the opponent's expecting you to do at least this. So doing this and waiting for armor and then going into something, that all works great. So at the least, the goal is you're getting a throw out of it from a little bit of staggers to anywhere getting 22-ish% if you break their armor, to even potentially starting a whole new combo if the opponent's trying to press buttons either on their regular wake up or a delayed wake up. And that allows you to keep this going. Now, if you're playing a more mix-up focused character, there's also an opportunity to get your mix on. So if you're playing Chameleon, you can be doing this into the ball roll type of thing. Now, obviously the 50-50 comes from the kick or the ball roll. So you would be going to this point and then either ball rolling or doing the final kick down, which you'll use Melina size for. You could also be doing this on their wake up, and the 50-50 happens after that kick or the slide. So you definitely have some options that you can be perfectly meeting with this string or this string, both of which will give you your 50-50s with an amazing character like Chameleon, or also a character like Sonya, which, like I talked about, if the opponent doesn't really know where to up block, you can be mixing pretty safely with Sonya as well. So in many, many cases, I am hitting the opponent with a full combo, and then I'm hitting them with another full combo that I'm getting from the mix-ups, thanks to how good Sub-Zero's Oki options are. All right? Now, your even better Oki options, and this is another massive, massive strength of Sub-Zero, is safe jumps. A safe jump is where you get to end a combo in such a way that you're at enough frame advantage that you get to jump in and the opponent really doesn't get an opportunity to react. They might say, whoa, I just saw you get clipped there. What's up with that? Yeah. No, I didn't. So the idea here is that with ending your combos early, you get this chance for an even more amazing setup opportunity. So ending with slide, you're not losing any damage. You're doing your full combo, and then you're getting that strong Oki situation. But if you want an even stronger Oki situation, you cut the combo damage, I'm not going to say in half, but you get about 2/3 of your regular combo damage. And this can be worth it. You can also get greedy in some cases where you do a setup like this. And the interesting thing about something like that is it's not a true safe jump against every character, but it almost is. And in a case like that, you're barely losing any damage. Like, you are losing some damage. You're losing the kick into the side at the end, but I'm still doing 30%. Back 2 is the strongest, and sure, let's say you're hitting with something like this, which is way more common. So something like this is netting you, low 30s. I'm still getting 32%. So yeah, I'm losing like 2-3% to get this setup, all right? But the true setup is a little bit earlier. And how do you tell the difference? Well, 40 frames. 40 frames is what's going to give you a true safe jump. And I'll just quickly show you the difference. So if I do 1-2 after this, and I jump into the freeze, and we've got Johnny on Johnny's wake up, this is going to give me enough time to with a punch and freeze him. Whereas if I try to get greedy, it's not going to work for a couple reasons. Okay? One reason it's not going to work is because I already just used my clone. I need the clone to beat his armor, so I can't call it out again. Also, even if I tried to just do maybe a version like this, now that one does give me enough. But if you try to get a longer combo going on, and then still get some form of, oh, that was actually pretty hot. So you could do something like that. But the point here is that with the lower frame count, with sub 40, in certain situations, it's not a true safe jump. So see on this one, it'll be 38%. I'm sorry, 38 frames. if you care. I know I'm getting into the weeds with this, and I promise I'll stop getting so technical in just a moment. But if you get a little more greedy, I'm only going to be at 38 frames advantage, whereas with ending it earlier, I'm at around 42 frames, 43 frames of advantage. So it's just going to be a more guaranteed Oki setup like this. But if you don't think the opponent is going to try to armor immediately, hey, it's totally okay to extend your combo a little bit longer and have less frames to work with. All right, like you could do that. Now, what are our options in that case? Well, one option, as you saw, is you're jumping in and then doing this to get the freeze off of their armor. But with enough frames, you can also just jump and then punch, or even kick and punch if you're in the corner. So it doesn't have to be quite as, amazing a read as you were just seeing there. I know that one I just showed might have looked even a little scary, but see how it was punch, punch, right? And if you got to press the grounded punch while you're still airborne, and then it will combo. But that allows you to totally break their armor. You're just like, nope, you are not armoring against me. And we're seeing, again, a lot more players use this type of tech now. We're seeing like Shang Tsung's use this type of tech, so on and so forth. And so this really makes the opponent scared to do something. Opponents are often going to try to up block you in this sort of situation. They're going to see you jumping and go like, oh, I'll just up block, but they can't. They can't up block this with the frames. Like, there's not enough time for them to do it. Even if you do the one that's just a slightly less frames advantage for you, they still generally can't up block it. But if you get too greedy with the combo, like if you do this 1-2 too close to the ground, and that means you're spending a lot of time jumping over them, they will be able to up block. But in most situations, if you just cut your combo early with 1-2, it's 1-2. 1-2 is an incredible airborne string. Not only does this string allow you to do meterless airborne combos if the opponent is jumping, but this is what is allowing for safe jump setups. It's not the only one, and having different safe jump setups is nice. This is also a safe jump setup. See, that's 44 frames. So the opponent can start getting used to you doing the 1-2 string in the air, and they're like, oh, they're going to do a safe jump, so now I got to, react accordingly. But by doing the 2-1 in the air, the opponent's usually expecting you to do the freeze, because that's what they've seen a million Sub-Zero players do, right? So just don't do the freeze, go for a jump. They're going to get a little time to see, wait, Sub-Zero's jumping instead of doing the cloud. But that can throw them off a little bit, so that's an alternate route for your safe jump. So what are we doing with the safe jump? With the safe jump, you're jumping in with a punch, 1 or 2. It doesn't really make too much of a difference, though. I do feel like it's easier to hit people with the 1. So we're jumping in with a 1. And that's going to give us plus frames or allow us to break their armor. And then the world is your oyster. You get to do basically anything you want. Did you want to start a string? You can. Did you want to do a single hit? And this all is going to combo. Just, again, as long as you press the grounded hit in the air. I know it's a weird MK thing, but I'm pressing 1 twice while I'm in the air. So I'm not pressing 1 when I land, I'm pressing 1 twice in the air, and that does a combo. Then you do the rest of the string. So you can be doing a string. Now, as Sub-Zero players will tell you, these strings are not the best. The only reason they're the best is to do a standing 1 or a standing 2 and then throw, because both those are at 0. It's much better for you to go into the buttons I showed you before. Standing 3 or standing 4. So these are ones I showed in a previous video. And yeah, I'm pressing the 3 while I am still airborne. I'm pressing the 4 while I'm still airborne. Why are these incredible? Because a good opponent will block when they see this safe jump incoming. They'll be like, oh, a safe jump is happening. I just need to block this. So you do that. There's no gap. They can't armor through that. And then after the standing 4, you're at +3. And so now you've got more options yet again. You could be continuing to stagger, or you could put a throw in there at some point, right? Or you could keep this string going to get to the low. Like I've shown with Scorpion, that actually leads to a combo from the low. Or you can be going into an overhead. And as we've talked about, with some characters, this button into a cameo call-out is either a frame trap, so they can only armor out of it, or with like Sonya, they can't do anything. Like they just have to hold the mix. So this is how you grind an opponent down. I have won whole matches, just this all day. And we do the next combo, and then that was the fake one, so that was a little more frames, and then we just keep doing this. We just keep doing this, and then they're dead, right? So you just loop a combo You get your initial combo for a third of their health. You do 2 more loops, both around a third of their health. You do a throw. It's game over. It's game. I've won so many matches in that way because the opponent wants to do something when they wake up. So they're often going to get hit by this safe jump, and you got plenty of time to confirm that you're hitting. You could even jump in and do this and this if your cameo isn't there. You've got the time to hit confirm it. Or they block this and then they get hit by the mix because they're not ready for it to be a frame trap, or they're trying to armor and then they get hit by Sonya. Like, you can grind somebody out doing this for sure. You just get that first hit. So this sounds pretty incredible, right? Like, I get 1 hit with Sonya and now they're dealing with my safe mix-ups because, again, this or this with Sonya is safe. And they're getting comboed on either side if I'm using this string. That's amazing, right? I'll just kill them in no time. This is amazing. What's the tech against it? The tech against it is delayed wake up. So yeah, delayed wake up does ruin our day. It's an unfortunate situation, but with the delayed wake up, this is just going to whiff, right? Now, you are still in a position generally where you can get it down 1 right after it. So they'll see you whiff that attack. We'll see you kind of whiff this, but you can often get them with a down 1 right after. Down 1, you're at hit advantage 11. So that will allow you to then go in with stagger strings like this into the throw and keep that pressure going. But yeah, good opponent. Soon as they see you're doing safe jump setups, they're just going to delay their wake up. So how do we deal with that? Well, one option is to delay your jump in. So you say, okay, we've played long enough that I realize you're going to wait. I'm going to wait. And then you're going to hit perfectly. And of course, if they delay their wake up, they can't do armor. Now, I don't love that option. It's an option. I'm not in love with it. The reason I'm not in love with it is it's a read on you. You're saying, okay, I'm guessing you're going to wait and then I'm going to jump. But let's say they don't. Let's say they just get up. Then you're partially airborne. You can still escape because you can use dive kick to get out of there, at least in a lot of cases. But it's not putting you in a great position. So I don't love that option, but it does exist. Another option you can do is you can change your aerial trajectory to do the dive kick right at the end. Now, as I've talked about before, you really do want to be hitting at the legs, like the knees down, all right? Because we want them to be leaving you in a position where, sorry, just getting this to a point where they'll do what I need. So we want them leaving you at frames where you're only like -5. See how that was safe? So yes, I'm losing my turn, sort of. I'll talk about, again, stealing your turn back in a moment. But it's not that bad. It's only -5 as long as they time it right. And if they're pressing buttons or they're doing something, I'm generally going to clip them with that dive kick. So that is an option that allows you to change your aerial trajectory once you see that the opponent is spending longer on the ground. All right? Now, the advantage of being only -5 is that guarantees that you can definitely do armor to steal your turn back, or against most characters, you can duck their initial attack and then go to punish them. All the time, I'm doing a string like this and then ducking and then punishing, or I'm doing dive kick to get in, making them whiff and then punishing. That is a legit way to get in. This, duck, punish. It works, all right? Now, sure, once the opponent gets used to it, as soon as you do dive kick, they're going to do down 1, but then as soon as you know they're going to do down 1, you just block it, and now it's your turn because down 1s are negative, or you just blow through it by using the slide, all right? So those are your options for making the hit count. And I hope you're seeing how this really brings things together. Because in the 50-50 video, I spent a lot of time talking about how good this and this is for 50-50s. This one mainly for Goro and for Scorpion. This one for Chameleon and Sonya. So we love being able to put the opponent in a situation where we get to do this or this. Like, that is a massive bonus for us because it leads to basically safe mix-ups, which in certain cases we really don't lose that much of our turn. Like, you don't lose your turn after doing that one because you're only -2, all right? So anytime we can put the opponent in a mix from this or this is amazing, and you can do it with safe jumps off of any combo you ever do. So, quick recap here at the end. 3 ways to make that hit count. If you hit the opponent ranged, Followed with Vapors just for a little extra tag. You do have to delay the Vapors just ever so slightly because the knockdown of this is longer than the startup frames of that, but just a little extra touch there, just a little extra kiss you're giving them. Now for other situations, we're ending with slide, meaty with the forward 1, or the back 3. If you think they'll delay wake up, do forward 1, 2. You'll snag the second hit of their wake up. And of course, as we talked about, you can armor break with this or this. Take a look at my other videos to check that out. Last but not least, virtually any combo you are ever hitting with here. I'll show you some like random ass combo. Right. I'm going to show one that goes a little long here. So you could do that. Here, I'm going to show you like this one. This combo. That was 41 frames. Hit advantage, right? So I got to do almost a full combo, and then I get to do this reset. Now, there are ways to do this jump in from the forward position or jumping over. I'm finding jumping over works well, but you can just take that slight step forward and then jump, and you're still normally going to be in a perfectly fine position, and that way you get to progress them toward the corner, which honestly is the best. There you have it, everybody. Get that hit, and then get more damage out of it. The last video of this How to Win series is coming up next, and it's going to be covering the weaknesses that I hear all the time for Sub-Zero, dealing with those holes in his strings and potentially in his moveset, and still getting the W. See you there.